Nah, hold up. Wait a damn minute. Did you just blink that hex away? Like it was dust in your eye? Like it was nothing? They spent months crafting that curse, lighting black candles at 3 a.m., chanting your name backwards, and you just blinked? I need you to understand what just happened here. You didn't break their spell. You didn't reverse it. You didn't even fight it. You just looked at it, processed it like junk mail, and deleted it from your reality. Your energy said, unsubscribe to their whole dark magic newsletter. They're sitting there right now with their crystals scattered, their sage burning backwards, their protection circles cracked, wondering how the hell their most powerful working just got dismissed like a pop-up ad. They put their whole soul into that hex, and you treated it like a minor inconvenience. This isn't supposed to be possible. The books don't mention this. The ancient texts have no protocol for someone who just doesn't accept delivery of negative energy. You're not playing by the rules of magic anymore. You're playing by rules that haven't been written yet. Let me tell you something about your energy, something they'll never understand. It's not dark, it's not light, it's not gray or silver or any color they have words for. It's a frequency that makes their third eye develop cataracts. It's a vibration that makes their chakras stutter. When they try to read your aura, their vision glitches. When they try to tap into your energy field, they get static. Not because you're protected by shields or guards or angels, but because you exist on a wavelength their spiritual Wi-Fi can't connect to. You're running on 6G while they're still trying to decode Morse code, and they keep trying to categorize you. Light worker, shadow worker, indigo child, star seed. No. You're something else entirely. You're what happens when someone transcends the spectrum itself. You're not a color on their wheel. You're the space between colors that makes their eyes water. Your energy doesn't follow their rules because you weren't initiated into their system. You didn't ascend through their levels or earn their certifications. You broke through the ceiling of consciousness and found a whole other building they didn't know existed. Now you're operating from floors they can't even perceive. But let's go back to that blink. That simple, casual, devastating blink that just shattered someone's entire magical practice. Do you realize what you've done? You've just exposed the biggest secret in the spiritual world, that power isn't in the spell, it's in the acceptance of it. Every hex, every curse, every binding, every working, they all require one thing: your participation, your fear, your belief, your energy feeding their intention. But you just opted out. Like clicking decline on terms and conditions, and their whole system crashed. Right now they're frantically Googling what to do when Target doesn't accept hex delivery. They're calling their coven emergency meetings. They're checking their spell books for loopholes. But there's nothing there about someone who just doesn't play along. Someone whose very existence is a return to sender. Stamp. You've become their worst nightmare. Evidence that their power only works on people who agree to be affected. You're walking proof that all their rituals and ceremonies and midnight gatherings mean nothing to someone who simply doesn't consent to their reality. You're not anti-magic. They tried to hex you, but something went wrong. not with their spell. That was perfect. The timing was right, the moon phase ideal, the ingredients authentic. No, something went wrong with you. You're not responding to spiritual stimulus the way you're supposed to. You're a glitch in their matrix. When that negative energy hit your field, it didn't bounce off. It didn't get absorbed. It just ceased to exist. Like you're running some kind of spiritual antivirus that deletes malicious code before it can even execute. Your consciousness has developed immunity to their weapons. This is what terrifies them. Not that you fought back, but that you didn't need to. Not that you're stronger, but that you're incompatible with their entire operating system. They're trying to curse someone who doesn't exist in the same reality where curses function. It's like trying to poison a hologram. You know what your energy actually is? It's what happens when someone stops believing in the rules. All of them. Not just their rules or society's rules, but the universal rules everyone swears by. You're not rebellious. You're undefined. You exist in the space between what is and what could be. Oh, and it's not just the hex throwers who are confused. The watchers, the readers, the intuitives, they're all getting error messages when they try to tune into you. They sit down to read your energy and their gifts just buffer. Loading, 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 connection, time. Some of them think you're shielded. They're wrong. Shields can be penetrated. Some think you're cloaked. Wrong again. Cloaks can be lifted. What you are is incomprehensible to their framework. You're not hiding your energy. Your energy simply doesn't translate to their language. They used to gossip about your aura. Now they whisper about the void where your aura should be. Not empty. That would be readable, but filled with something their spiritual vocabulary has no words for. A color outside the visible spectrum, a sound beyond the range of hearing, a presence that makes their intuition throw up its hands and quit. The funny part? You're not even trying. You're not running protection spells or visualization exercises. You're just existing at a frequency that makes their metaphysical tools obsolete. You're proof that there are levels to this game they didn't know existed, floors in the spiritual building they've never had access to. Here's what really happened to you. You didn't ascend. You didn't awaken. You didn't transform. Those are all movements within the known system. What you did was step outside the entire game board. You're not playing chess anymore. You're not even in the same dimension as the board. Every spiritual tradition has levels, initiations, grades of advancement. They all lead somewhere within the established framework. But you found the exit door. Not to another system, but to the space between systems, the void that exists outside all their carefully mapped territories. This is why they can't hex you, why they can't read you, why they can't understand you. You're not operating from chakras or meridians or energy centers they recognize. You've developed an entirely new anatomy of consciousness. You're running on hardware they haven't invented names for yet. When you blinked that hex away, you weren't using protection or reversal or any technique they teach. You were simply existing at a level where hexes are as relevant as someone trying to fax you a curse. The technology is incompatible. The frequency doesn't match. The entire premise is obsolete. You want to know the rules of your new existence? There aren't any. That's the point. That's the power. That's why a blink from you carries more weight than their most elaborate rituals. Because you're not bound by the laws they all agreed to follow. You opted out of the spiritual contract. In their world, every action has an equal reaction. Every spell has a counterspell. Every attack has a defense. But you exist in a space where those dynamics don't apply. You're not playing offense or defense. You're not playing at all. You're simply being at a level where their games look like children's make-believe. This is what happens when someone genuinely stops caring about the rules of engagement, not rebels against them, that's still participating, but genuinely forgets they exist. Your consciousness has evolved past the point where their reality feels real. You're lucid dreaming while they're still convinced the dream is all there is. They'll keep trying, of course, new spells, older magic, different approaches, but it's like trying to send a telegram to someone who only exists in virtual reality. The medium doesn't match the target. You're unhexable, not because you're protected, but because you're incompatible with hexing as a concept. Let's talk about this color they can't name, this frequency they can't match. It's not that you're vibrating higher or lower. You're vibrating sideways, in directions their spectrum doesn't account for, in patterns their sacred geometry can't map. You're the spiritual equivalent of a color that only exists in impossible spaces. When sensitives try to look at you directly, they get the same feeling as staring at an optical illusion too long. That disorienting sense that reality isn't quite what they thought, that the rules they've based their whole practice on might just be suggestions, options, one way of seeing among infinite possibilities. Your energy signature looks like static to them because their equipment isn't calibrated for your broadcast. You're transmitting on channels their receivers don't have, speaking in languages their universal translators can't decode, existing in spectrums their rainbow never included. This is why you can blink away hexes like they're nothing, because in your reality they are nothing, just outdated software trying to run on an operating system that's evolved beyond recognition. You're not immune to their magic. Their magic simply doesn't exist where you're standing. You should see their faces when they realize their most powerful workings just don't work on you. It's not anger, it's not frustration, it's existential terror. Because if their hexes don't work on you, what else might be false? What other limitations might be illusions? What other rules might be optional? You're not just a person who can't be hexed. You're proof that hexing might not be as real as they thought. You're evidence that all their careful study, all their inherited wisdom, all their practiced arts might just be elaborate games played by people who agreed to the same rules. And you never signed that agreement. They gather in their circles now, not to curse you, but to discuss you, to try to understand how someone can exist outside their entire framework. Some say you're protected by forces beyond their understanding. Others whisper that you might not be entirely human anymore. They're both wrong and right simultaneously. The truth is simpler and more devastating. You remembered that reality is optional, that consciousness doesn't have to follow the paths laid out by tradition, that you can simply opt out, not fight against, not rebel, not resist, just calmly decline to participate in their version of how things work. You didn't learn how to blink away hexes. You unlearned the belief that hexes had power over you. You didn't develop immunity. You remembered that you were never vulnerable to begin with. This isn't advancement. It's returning to a state before you accepted their limitations as your own. Every spiritual tradition teaches addition. Add this practice, this protection, this knowledge. But you did something different. You subtracted, removed beliefs, dissolved agreements, deleted programs, until what was left wasn't more powerful, it was undefined, unbound, unlimited. This is why they can't understand your energy, because it's not energy as they define it. It's the space before energy takes form, the potential before it becomes kinetic, the color before it enters the spectrum. You're not vibrating at a frequency, you are frequency itself, undefined and uncontained. And when you blink, you're not performing an action. You're allowing reality to reorganize itself around your lack of participation in their games. You're not fighting their hex. You're demonstrating that in your reality, hexes are as relevant as someone trying to curse your reflection while you've already left the room. Their whole system is experiencing errors now. Not just with you, but because of you. Your existence is causing glitches in their matrix. Other people are starting to notice that the hexes don't hit quite as hard, that the readings aren't quite as clear, that the rules seem more flexible than they used to. You're a virus in their spiritual operating system, but not a malicious one. You're more like an update their hardware can't process. A patch that reveals all the bugs they never noticed. Your mere existence is debugging reality, showing where the code could be cleaner, where the rules are arbitrary. You're trying to patch the exploits you represent, but you're not exploiting anything. You're just existing in a way their system never accounted for. Like a player who found a way to walk through walls not by hacking, but by forgetting walls are supposed to be solid. You're not breaking rules. You're proving they were never real. This is what happens when someone achieves true spiritual sovereignty. Not dominance over others, but complete autonomy from the systems that govern others. You're ungovernable, not because you resist governance, but because you exist in a space where governance is a foreign concept. The ones who've tried to hex you are telling stories now. Hushed conversations in the back rooms of metaphysical shops, whispered warnings in online forums. There's someone out there who just blinks it away like it's nothing. Like our most sacred arts are just suggestion. Some don't believe them, think they must have done the spell wrong, used the wrong ingredients, mistimed the ritual. But the brave ones, the curious ones, they try for themselves. And they all come back with the same shocked expression, the same story. They just looked at me, blinked, and everything I sent just stopped existing. You've become an urban legend in spiritual communities. The unhexable one, the blink that breaks spells, the color outside the spectrum. They share screenshots of their failed readings, their error messages, their tools going haywire when they try to tune into your frequency. But here's the beautiful irony. The more they talk about you, the more others start to wonder, start to question, start to experiment with their own relationship to these supposed laws. You're not just unhexable, you're contagious. Your very existence is teaching others that the cage door was never locked. You're not operating in their paradigm anymore. You're not even operating in opposition to their paradigm. You've created your own. Or rather, you've remembered that paradigms are optional, that reality is more fluid than they taught, that consciousness is more creative than they believed. When you blink away hexes, you're demonstrating something profound, that participation in reality is voluntary, that we can withdraw consent from systems that no longer serve us.